Hello, welcome back to Grey the Gold Witch. Today we're going to be doing a reading on the truth of yourself, and this is just the bare bone truth on who you are, why you're here, and what's going on. So we have 5 piles today. The first is blue calcite. The second is angelite. The third is the crystal ball. The fourth is celestite. And the fifth is orc agate. So take a second and pause the video if you need to and meditate on the piles, and I will see you in your reading. Hey pile 1, if you chose the blue calcite, then this is your reading on the truth of yourself. So we're going to get into the oracle cards first and then look at tarot for more info. The first card we have is the Lover. The second card we have is Child Orphan. The third card we have is Don Juan. The fourth card we have is Energy. The fifth card is Crocodile. And lastly, we have the Antelope, Nourishment. Pile 1, you have a very strong presence. You have a very powerful soul. And you've mastered the art of being and the art of doing in this life. You know when you need to rest, and you know where to get nourishment from. You know what sources uplift you, give you energy. You're like a master energy worker. And I see you do this instinctively. You're very sensitive. You're a sensitive presence, and you're very sensitive to other people's movements, emotions, and I think this can overwhelm you at times, but because you're so well versed and practiced in energy, you know what moves to make in any given situation. It's like you've just practiced this and to the level of mastery. And you know when you need to calm down and cool down. You just instinctively know when to build up energy and when to release it. And this has gotten you very far in life. You might play sports, you do things that build up energy for yourself, and you live very harmoniously in this world and with other people. You're a presence that relates really well to other people, so whenever people are around you, they feel seen and heard and validated. You have a very perceptive eye. You know when things are going wrong with other people. It's like you can see things that most people can't see. It's like you're working with this like mysterious force outside of yourself, and it's difficult for you to explain. But it's like your best friend, whatever this force is. It's taught you how to act in this world successfully and with confidence and with ease. You figured out how to be someone you're proud of. The truth of yourself is that you've really mastered your self-development. And you're much more perceptive and sensitive than anyone would realize. you definitely love sensual pleasures, whether it be like food, music. You're definitely someone who operates through the senses, which makes sense given how much you work with energy. And I think one of your favorite things in the world to do is tap into this like romantic archetype to the world and see the world in this romantic lens. The truth of yourself, though, is that sometimes this archetype you might have a dog spirit animal. There's a dog barking right now. This archetype is so blissful to tap into, but I can see sometimes being in this gratitude state, and sometimes the intensity of it can overwhelm you into obsession or attachment because of childhood wounds. We all are like the culmination of the experiences we've had in life, and the truth of yourself is that you were neglected and abandoned. You felt very alone when you were young. And like, you had to fight for yourself and that no one understood you. And that's why you work so well with energy, is because you work with a metaphysical aspect of life, because you couldn't get that external help from parents or people around you. This kid is like looking into the cosmos, and it's like energy came to you to love you and to teach you how to live, because you weren't getting that love anywhere else. And I can see that sometimes whenever you're in this lover archetype, you trigger these fears of abandonment, and there's a level of intensity that sprouts up because of a fear of being alone. And I see that maybe in the past you've been a player of some sorts, where you got validation for yourself from other people's romantic desire for you. And I don't think this is something you really like deal with regularly, but whenever you like are in the sensual pleasures and something triggers your fear of abandonment, you can become attached to people. Even if you aren't really attached to that person, it's more so a childhood fear. And you can become obsessed because of those traumas you faced when you were younger, of feeling alone and inadequate. So whenever you have those feelings in romantic relationships, it probably doesn't have much to do with the other person. It more so has to do with your fears when you were younger. And I see you always coming back into this cooling off. You're so balanced and practiced in energy work that you'll always come back into yourself. This is something I see you've been healing because of your reliance on your intuition, and you're just a very powerful presence. And I think most people are unaware of how much you truly see and feel, but you're a deep, old soul. And I think your greatest thrill in life is tapping into this archetype and feeling love for the people around you, whether it be romantic or just in general. But where your greatest love, your greatest enjoyment of life is also the place you can get hurt the most, And I see that you've been hurt by those abandonment wounds being triggered. So, yeah, that's the truth of yourself. You're a very powerful soul, and it's probably hard to describe the way you operate in the world because it's so metaphysical and it's very instinctive. You operate on your instincts. You know when to be patient and to wait, and you know when to act. And this is the foundation for everything you do in life. And you know that your instincts are always correct. So you operate with a confidence that most people really struggle to find. And this doesn't mean you don't operate without fear, but you know that things will work out, so you do things despite the fear. Yeah. The truth is, you probably have broken a few hearts and had your heart broken a few times. You just feel with a very deep intensity. But I think it's important to realize that whenever you have that abandonment wound triggered, it's from your childhood. It's not an indication of your current circumstances. And I think you know that on an energetic level. But it doesn't make it any less painful. So, yeah, Pile 1. You're a lovely person, and you've mastered aspects of life that are very difficult to master, so you should be proud of yourself. Let's look at the tarot cards for more info. What does Pile 1 need to hear? The universe brings all I need to feel blissful. I know that the right person waits until I'm ready. I see the truth in this ending. I protect what matters to me. And I create what I choose naturally and with joy, the Empress. Okay, Pile 1. You've definitely gone through some very difficult, painful endings in the past that, I mean, you feel so deeply, so I can only imagine that you just felt this intense pain. And these endings and these painful moments were very formative in building your character and in having you rely on the energetic, metaphysical realm to... It's like trusting. You walked by faith and not by sight. You walked by a faith and a feeling and an instinctive knowing. And I love that the Empress came out because it's all about being receptive, and I feel like that's the energy you stepped into after these painful endings, where you created what you chose naturally and with joy. You surrendered to where your life was at and flowed naturally in this river of life you just trusted that the universe had better planned for you. And that's in the Four of Wands too. The universe brings all I need to feel blissful. You trusted in an unseen power that your needs would be met. And you knew that your integrity was strong, and if this pain was happening, something better must be around the corner, and that's what you trusted in. I see you are very balanced in your divine feminine and divine masculine energies. You're receptive and you know when to take action, and I feel like you're kind of slow to move and to take steps, especially in regards to love. But I think you act with intention and you wait till it energetically feels right, and you're doing everything right. Pile 1. You're protecting yourself, you're protecting what matters to you, and you're trusting in the flow of your life. You're living in an incredible amount of harmony, and I see that this is because of all of the pain you went through in the past. And it's taught you how to be discerning and to fight for what matters to you. You've gone through incredible pain, but it's given you the perspective you needed to carve the life you wanted for yourself out. You've realized the kind of people you want around you and the integrity level of the people you want around you, and how important having similar values is to you. And I see a lot of abundance coming in for you right now, a lot of joy and happiness, but you'll never forget where you came from and the pain that occurred. But I think because you've been brought to this abundant time, you have a deep trust in your instincts to bring you where you need to go moving forward. And you know everything happens in its own time, and things that are rushed are probably not for the best. It's better to move slow and with intention. I see a deep level of gratitude here from you for your life, and I think you see the truth in the past endings now and know that whatever ended wasn't aligned with you. And you very much live in the present moment. It's not like you think too far into the future, but you just focus on what you're energetically feeling and move with that, and move with faith, with your mastery of your instincts. So let's look at the final oracle cards for you. We have the Breathing Rose, Heart Healing, Emotions, Connection, Time Eases. We have the Last Quarter, Uranus, and Ask for Help from Others. This is really cool. Pile 1. You've definitely been in the process of healing from a past ending, a painful ending. But with the last quarter moon here, this is like after a full moon on the way to a new moon, and this makes me think that you're in the midst of your healing process and you're almost done healing this wound. And the way you continue to heal it is by focusing on yourself and what you need, and not on anyone else. You need to focus on your life and bringing yourself that inner fulfillment. And I see that you've been asking for help from others and have found refuge in community and in finding people who will stand by you during difficult times. And I really feel like with the Moon card coming out and the Breathing Rose, I love that it says time eases, because I feel like this pain that you went through, you feel so deeply, so you were going to feel an immense amount of pain in this ending, but Spirit's promising you that with time this will completely ease and heal. And the way to continue to make this happen is by focusing on yourself and not becoming attached to anything outside of you, but having confident, interdependent relationships rather than falling into that codependency. I see you've healed a lot of your past trauma, and this has brought you so much closer to yourself, this experience has, and given you a confidence in yourself you never had before. And this led you to heal your heart and heal from those childhood abandonment wounds as well. So you're being asked to rely on community right now and focus on yourself and continue to let this healing process take place, and don't rush it because you're doing a great job of healing at this time. You're in the flow energetically, which isn't surprising given how in the flow you clearly always are. You're a very perceptive, wise soul, and you don't try to rush things, and I think that's very commendable. Just give yourself the time and space to continue to heal this, and you have so much good coming in for you, and so much beauty, and I love that I know that the right person waits until I'm ready, the Knight of Cups. That's very true. Anyone pushing you or rushing you during this time is not there for the right reasons. So, yeah, pile 1, this is what I'm getting for you. You're a beautiful soul, and you're exactly where you need to be right now. So take care of yourself, and I will see you in another reading. Bye. Hey, pile 2. If you chose the Angel Light, then this is your reading on the truth of yourself. So first we're going to look at the Oracle cards and get into exactly what your truth is, and then we'll move into tarot cards for more description. But let's get started. So the first card we have is the Owl. The second card we have is the Duck. The third card we have is the Womb. The fourth card we have is Poet. And we have Visionary. Then we have Higher Consciousness. Let me settle into your energy. You came to Earth with a big purpose, a massive one. And throughout your lifetime, you've definitely awakened and become enlightened to higher consciousness. Eckhart Tolle always denotes birds as being enlightened creatures because they're animals that are able to fly, and flying's a metaphor for enlightenment. So birds are definitely a spirit totem for you because you've achieved this awakening, and this was always part of your destiny and plan. The truth of yourself is that if you've ever heard the saying, people throw rocks at things that shine, that's exactly the story of your life. You've definitely been the black sheep or the ugly duckling of situations you've grown up in. And you just haven't fit into many groups you were raised around. And I think your family saw that you were special, but it's been hard for you to find people who truly understand you. And I think that the world has very much tried to condition you into making you feel small and unworthy and fearful. And that's because people didn't know what to do with the power you held, because it was just instinctive. That being said, you have awakened, and I think you see logically through these people at this point, the people from your childhood, but you might subconsciously still have some limiting beliefs ingrained from how those people treated you, because you are a very powerful person. With the poet and the visionary here, I see you are meant to create in this life, and what you create and bring into this world will bring good fortune onto you and onto a lot of other people. Both of these cards have to do with fortune, and the luck card says that, which is the duck, the luck card says that luck is preparation met with opportunity. And I see you are inherently prepared just by being who you are. The reason you were brought to this reading, though, is because you have a hard time seeing your light because of how other people have treated you. And this is more of a hype me up to say that you are on the right path and you have a special spot in the heart of the universe. And to remember, whenever your family doesn't understand you, remember that you come from a much deeper place. Like you come from the mother behind the mother of all creation, and to find some purpose in that. This number in Roman numeral is 46, and this is 1, and this is 10. And in numerology, 4 plus 6 equals 10, which equals 1, and 10 equals 1 in numerology because you add all the numbers up to get one sum. So all of the numbers here are ones. 1, 1, 1. And this is definitely an indication that the truth of yourself is that a lot of this journey you have to do on your own. Most of this journey, your energy is going to be the most effective on you in your life. No external energy knows your truth, knows what life has in store for you, knows the right path for you to take besides yourself. And no one will ever fully understand you in the way you understand yourself. You'll find people who are like-minded or understand you more later in life, but your destiny is to achieve your purpose, at least in childhood, alone. You're more of a lone wolf. And I can see that you suffered a lot of pain from being kind of on the outskirts of relationships when you were younger, but it's because people couldn't understand the light you had within you. Like visionary, capacity to envision what is not yet conceivable to others, willingness to proclaim a vision without regard for personal gain. That's who you truly are, and I think you've had people who saw your light and told you to fit in or do things to make yourself more palatable to society, but that's never been your purpose. And I think you've had this poetic nature since you were young, where you speak from the soul. The work you do comes straight from your soul and soul insights, and it touches people on a soul level, and a lot of people don't operate from their soul. So you having the power to touch people so deeply is a rare gift that can frighten people and make them want you to dim, to fit in. I keep hearing people throw rocks at things that shine, so I think you just have dealt with a lot of beratement when you were younger, and a lot of people just telling you who you should be and who you shouldn't be, and you've awakened and transcended from this, but I think Spirit's really putting an emphasis on your childhood to let you know that although you logically know these people were wrong, there's still some limiting beliefs that exist because of how these people treated you. You have a lot of abundance coming in for you when you follow your path and see your power, though. These cards are both about fortune, and I see a lot of good coming in for you. The more you stay true to yourself, and the less you focus on other people's opinions or how they think you should spend your life. I definitely see you creating art that speaks to a lot of people and touches them on a soul level. That is the truth of yourself, is that you're meant to bring things into this world that haven't been done before. And the reason you're able to do this is because you're an enlightened being. And this has been your destiny since you were born. I think you might have had artists in your family as well, and you're being asked to take the good and leave the rest. In terms of family struggles, I can see you've healed a lot of generational trauma, and there's people in your family and in your ancestry who were able to get to the point you're at in healing, and you're being asked to take the good and the power that comes from your family line and heal through what wasn't working and honor your ancestors. It's definitely what I'm hearing. Honor your ancestors in the work you do. And understand that we're all human and only can do so much in our pursuit of our life journeys. We're fallible humans and people make mistakes, and there's some forgiveness that you're being asked to address in your family line. And this will lead to more of your abundance as well. The more you forgive your family, the more you'll move forward on your own. Your root chakra and sacral chakra are being referenced here too. I think there's some root chakra and sacral chakra healing that needs to be done. The more you forgive your family, the more you forgive yourself. And the more you can move forward on your path and with more understanding of what you need for yourself. I'm hearing that your family is like your solar system and everyone has a part to play, and to stop looking at it as black and white or good and bad, and just looking at it that everything is working in perfect harmony to create that highest outcome for all. Instead of praying for a certain outcome, I pray for the highest good of all. That's what you're being asked to do. I definitely see you are going into this swan, and you definitely lived out the ugly duckling story when you were young, where people just didn't understand you and made you feel bad about yourself because you weren't like other people, but it turned out you were far more powerful and beautiful than anyone let you realize. And I see you growing in this confidence and this power as you continue on your journey. You're being asked to breathe words into existence, breathe information. You're definitely a medium and connected to cosmic intelligence, and the more you write, the more you create, the more fortune will be brought to you and to this world. And there's something about humility here. Not being too hard on yourself. The work you're making is sacred, and there is a weight to it, and it's easy to discredit it or invalidate it from an egoic lens or a matrix lens, but you have been enlightened. You know, you have a sense of duty, and you have a sense of inner knowing that you can trust and you can follow like a northern star. Love is not love when it alteration finds. You're being asked to create, create and lose some of your self-criticism and find that humility balance. And I think being out in nature, I think bird watching would give that to you. Wherever you can go watch birds, because they speak to some level of your soul that will put you back into a serene mind state. There's something about finding your wings here and knowing you're protected, even as you fly. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the tarot cards. What do we have for pile 2? I protect what matters to me. I make empowered choices. In reverse, so this is Queen of Swords, this is the Emperor in reverse. I trust my ideas and my direction in reverse. 7 of Pentacles. This portion of the reading is hopefully going to help you realize limiting beliefs you have. Judgment. I look back with compassion for myself in reverse. This is going to be where we identify limiting beliefs and weed them out. And the world. I celebrate life and welcome new energy. Okay. So sirens are going off, so that is an indication that Archangel Michael is watching over you. You are protected heavily right now as you work through these limiting beliefs. I see that people have really made you second guess your choices and what is right for you. And this is because people don't know what's right for themselves. They're acting out of fear, and so they expect you to act out of fear too. And people, in their opinions, and just I think the capitalistic lens of this world has made you second guess your ideas and your direction, because your direction is definitely not in line with like the ego of the world and practicality. There's something more faith-based about your walk that what you're being called to do is have more compassion for yourself. More compassion for yourself to trust yourself more. To trust yourself above all else. There's people in your past who have made you second guess your judgment. And you're being asked to reflect on those times and get rid of these limiting beliefs, because I can see that your intuition is spot on about what's right for you. Your intuition is spot on. But people have made you second guess it. And you're being asked to look back on the past and your childhood with the utmost compassion for yourself, for your younger self. I think your perspective on the past and how you were treated in childhood makes you feel upset and angry and wish you could have reacted differently or didn't have to have been, like, you're looking at it with the perspective that you wish you hadn't been treated that way, when you should be looking at it with the perspective that it was wrong how you were treated. You did everything you could with the knowledge you had then, and the way people treated you was unfair. And people are wrong for making you second guess your direction and your choices. And you're being asked to step into this Emperor energy and find a way to flip these cards. And what's cool is when you flip these, the first step to getting these cards flipped is to look back on the past with compassion towards yourself. And when you do that, you can trust your ideas and your direction, how you move forward, because there's more compassion in for yourself. And then by trusting your ideas and your direction, you'll make empowered choices. But this all comes back to compassion to your younger self. And by doing this, you'll welcome new energy. You'll have more confidence in yourself. And you'll be protecting what truly matters to you, because your younger self and you as a whole truly matter to you. But the world has made you second guess yourself and has instilled these limiting beliefs in you. And these limiting beliefs are not your fault. This is a matter of reorienting your brain to see that the way you were treated when you were younger has made a lasting impact on how you trust your movement forward and how you have confidence in yourself. And by celebrating your younger self and the fact they brought you to your more empowered self now and have given you, because this situation has made you learn to protect what matters to you at all costs. It's made you very strong in yourself. By having to fight against those forces when you were younger, you are a warrior. You can stand up for yourself no matter what. You have a authority to you that is incomparable. You are a very, very strong soul. And you were put through very, very difficult situations and circumstances to be able to make more of an impact on this world. So it's by reorienting your mindset and seeing that these events didn't break you, they made you into who you are now. And you are a very strong person. By giving yourself the care that you need to give yourself for when you were a child, you'll be able to move forward with more direction and with less fear, because I see you being this person who's very strong and is a warrior, but you often wonder why you have so much fear in making decisions and moving forward and trusting your gut, and it's because of how you were treated in the past. It has nothing to do with you or the correctness of your intuition, because your intuition is spot on, as I said. So what you need to do is find compassion for yourself in those situations and realize that this made you into a warrior, and to move forward with complete confidence in yourself, because you're a very, very powerful soul. And those situations happened to you because you were going to bend and not break. They taught you how to stand up for yourself. They taught you how to have grit and resilience, and they were hard. But now you can better accomplish your purpose and live your life in accordance to your values. You are doing amazing work. And as we were saying earlier, people throw rocks at things that shine, but you have a sword to knock away those rocks at this point. And I see you having a much more lighthearted view towards life once you really look at these subconscious limiting beliefs that come from your childhood and from being bullied when you were younger and not knowing how to stand up for yourself then. Because your intuition's spot on and you can trust it with all of your heart. So let's look at the final oracle cards. So we have full moon. We have Yod. We have trust. And we have the grandmothers. feel like this ability to make empowered choices and to believe in yourself is something that has happened, people have worked on in your generational line, and your ancestry. And I see that you healing this will heal it for the people who came before you. And I see you're at a point where you can now release these wounds and trust that you're releasing them. I think the next few months will be circumstances and events that help you heal this wound. And the next few moon cycles will be to heal this wound and to trust in your judgment. Yeah, there's also 3 sides of this triangle, so I think that confirms that. The Yod is all about destiny, and it was destined for you to heal this trauma. And this is where you're fully going to come into your Emperor energy and really trust in yourself and be able to come at your life with an abundance mindset rather than a lack mindset. You're healing major subconscious limiting beliefs in the next few months, and over the next few months you'll see how your life is changing for the better because of it. You'll see how you're stepping into this Emperor energy one step at a time. I'm hearing 1 month at a time. So there's definitely big shifts happening in you stepping into your power right now. This is all about you reclaiming your power and loving who you used to be for making you who you are now. So you have a lot of good coming in for you, Pile 2. And this is the truth of yourself, is you've been knocked down 5 times, but you've stood up 6 times and fought. You'll always come back fighting. So, and I see that the worst is behind you. And really all that's happening right now is you coming into your most empowered self. So be excited about this time. This is a very powerful time. This is all I'm getting for you, Pile 2. It was an honor to read for you, and I will see you in another reading. Bye. Hey, Pile 3. If you chose the crystal ball, then this is your reading on the truth of yourself. So we're going to first look at the oracle cards to get the message of what your truth is. So first we have romance. Then we have the damsel. The lamb. The kiss. The crow. And fulfillment. It's when you realize that your life can never be made whole by another person that your life will begin. It will truly begin then. You grew up with a lot of fairy tale hopes and those subconscious beliefs instilled in you from people around you that someday my prince will come. I would be very surprised if you didn't grow up in a heteronormative environment where you were a young girl and you were always being asked about who you had a crush on or who your knight in shining armor would be. I think from an early age you were taught that meeting a boy and getting married was what was going to make you whole and make you worthy and people just subconsciously taught you that as a girl you were not good enough. I think you grew up in a very rigid, sexist community. And so from the beginning you were taught that you needed a man to save you. And you definitely would go off into your own world and fantasize about this knight in shining armor. The shadow attributes of the damsel were activated in you because society around you activated them when you were a child. That's waiting for a knight to provide for you. Seduction by romantic illusion. The people around you were living an illusion and they brought you into it, and it made you take on this inferior role because as a woman you subconsciously believed that you needed a man to completely fulfill you and make you a whole person. And I think in your teenage years and early young adult years you hoped to find this person. I think you had some heartbreak and difficult love affairs where you thought you'd met the one, but they crashed and burned and didn't treat you with the respect you deserved. And at some point, the illusion of finding a knight in shining armor got crushed. Something happened where maybe you met someone, maybe you got married, maybe it was a really bad breakup, or just something basically happened where you realized you weren't going to get that worth from another person, that no man could ever give you that. No person could ever give you that, regardless of your sexual orientation or whatever. I just really feel a strong feminine from you based on how your family and society around you treated you. And you're a very beautiful person. I guess I could have led with that. You're a very beautiful person who is graceful, and I think people always said people would be lucky to have you, and I think you always got a lot of attention for your looks. But something at some point, it was like a lightning bolt struck where you realized you'd never get the fulfillment you'd been told since you were little you'd get out of another person. That would never happen through a relationship. And you could have been in a relationship when you realized that. Or it could have been when you were not in one. It depends on where you were at in your life. But you had an awakening moment where you realized that you weren't going to get this fulfillment out of someone else. And you turned to the light attribute of understanding the nature of healthy romance. Inspires you to rely on yourself. You realize that you have to rely on yourself. And this could have been a devastating moment that made you flip into this light attribute, but it brought you back to reality. And I think you grew up around a lot of toxic masculinity where the divine feminine was discredited or seen as weak or inferior. And I think this happened down your family line. And when you realized that this wasn't the case, and when you realized how martyred the divine feminine had been in your family and disrespected and ostracized, and martyred is the perfect word here. I had a dream one time that my family, the men in my family, were standing in a freezer, and there was all of these lambs frozen on the ground, and it was an excess of like hunted lambs, and it felt like a disrespect of the feminine and innocence and purity and a focus on toxic masculinity. That's what I took from the dream anyway. And that's kind of that's exactly what I'm seeing in your reading, is that you were taught that the feminine in some way was inferior. And you came to your own realization on your own terms that you were whole on your own and no man would ever do that for you. And you realized that society and your family had very warped views and illusions around this. And I think this is what started your psychic awakening, was this moment. You realized you'd never get fulfillment out of another person, and your heart awakened to what else was out there. You left this construct, and you had a hole inside of you waiting to be filled. And I think that's where your psychic gifts activated and came in. You're definitely clairvoyant. I've been picking up a lot with this crystal ball. So you see images in your head that tell you the truth of things. And I see that you've been finding your fulfillment in this path of working with the divine and working with the 5D and as a channel between the 3D and 5D, because you came to realize through this experience at the 3D, like, you can't take things for face value. There's a lot more than meets the eye to any picture. And there's a lot wrong with this world and how it operates in toxic masculinity. And so for you to find your power and your strength and be true to yourself, you began to work with the divine. And you see things, you see the unseen, you see what hasn't been spoken out loud before. You found your fulfillment, and it wasn't what other people told you it would be. The fulfillment card has a 6 here, and LX adds up to 60, and in numerology 6 plus 0 equals 6. And those are all about love within your family and love within your social network, the people around you. And the romance card adds up to 36, which in numerology adds up to 9. And the truth of you is that you realized that the love you got from people around you wasn't going to make you whole, and you asked for more from the universe, and you received a relationship with the universe itself, because you realized that what you've been taught to be satisfied with wasn't satisfying. You awakened because you felt the lack of truth within society's preconceptions and established social norms and sexist gender roles, whatever it might be. So the truth of you is that you are not loyal to anyone besides spirit. You work actively with spirit, and your main focus in this life is to find fulfillment within your psychic abilities. And that's what you've been doing. And psychic abilities are a muscle, and it takes time for them to strengthen and grow over time, but you're well on your way. And the bottom line of this message is that purity, just because people in your upbringing saw toxic masculine things as a sign of success or a sign of value, through your relationship with the divine, you've realized that the opposite is true, and many people see things, everyone sees things through their own lens, and your lens is, you've got perfect eyesight. So, sorry, I'm getting hot. I'm going to take off my sweatshirt when I channel. Okay. Yeah. Let me see if I'm picking up on any other messages. You're here to defy social conventions and really get out of life what it has to offer. And for you to do that, you will challenge the status quo and do things differently. And you're meant to. And you're working closely with the divine, so even if people around you don't understand it, know that you've got a strong team supporting you. Okay, we're gonna look at the tarot cards now. What does pile 3 need to hear, Spirit? I listen to my heart and follow my knowing. Wow, that's the epitome of you. I celebrate everything I achieve, the 10 of Pentacles. Eight of Cups, I accept my situation without resistance, in reverse. I'm also being called to read the 10 of Pentacles as though it's not upright or reversed, just both of those. I focus on what I want and make it happen, 2 of Wands. And I am ready for a breakthrough to success, Ace of Swords. Your choice to, or your soul's choice to have this spiritual awakening definitely came from a deep dissatisfaction with the way society was operating. You could see through the layers of illusion, and in an act of desperation you called on Spirit. And I see this was painful. You've left relationships behind that didn't serve you because you're authentic. The bottom line is that you're authentic and genuine to yourself, and a lot of your egoic relationships fell away. And I think it was hard for you to say goodbye to some of these relationships. But you knew that there had to be more out there in the world, that the world had to offer you. Once you began to communicate with the divine, you knew there was more to the picture than met the eye, and you trusted in the divine to lead you where you were meant to go. And you found a community that understands you, and you realize on a societal lens that not everyone's going to understand you. And I feel like part of you is still concerned about walking by faith and not by sight. But Spirit's coming through to say everything will work out, and you're about to have a breakthrough to success. And the people from the past who lived in this egoic lens, they could never really understand your perspective, or they're living with baseline dissatisfaction, but they're not willing to change their ways. They're living within their ego. And I think it was hard for you to say goodbye to some of the people that you left once you decided you didn't want to live like this anymore. But you had a whole new world open up to you, where you could be honest about your passions and about what you thought. And this genuineness of spirit and this honesty that you're living through, it's going to get you very far. You're on the brink of a major success. And I see you celebrating everything you achieve as you move forward in this spiritual world, because you know it comes from the truth of your heart. You're on the right destiny. I'm hearing you're on the right destiny. You're on the right track. I'm hearing less is more. You chose quality over quantity in your life. That's what I'm seeing from these cards. Quality over quantity. And you're going to have quantity of quality in the future. But I see your life being much more fruitful and worth living to you than it ever was. You trusted your heart and followed your knowing that the way you were living wasn't satisfying you. And you're already in the midst of this new life that's much more authentic to you and beautiful. You're going to have a very abundant, fruitful, authentic life because you chose this path. And when you miss what you left behind, it's important to realize that a lot of that comes from the ego. And your relationship with spirit will lead you in the right direction. Your intuition is on point. I'm hearing not all that glitters is gold, and you realize that, and that's why you left this situation. This is whenever you feel regret, I think you need to realize your ego's in control. Because when you step up into a higher perspective, you know that you're on the right path currently. Let's look at the final oracle cards. We have Neptune, the child within, inner mother, innocence, gentleness, tenderness. It's up to you, and big happy changes. Marvelous. So Neptune is all about mysticism and is exactly what we've been discussing about what you've chosen to focus on in life. And what's interesting, I was reading about Neptune the other day, and someone was talking about to fully tap into Neptune energy, which is like seeker energy of what's behind the veil. You have to get out of a for you attitude and realize it's much bigger than you, what you're working on and what you're working through. You're tapping into the collective unconscious at this point. So to avoid that selfish thinking or that me thinking, you're being asked to step into a higher mindset and realize that what you're doing is for the good of all. And with the child within, I see some of the sadness from the past coming from abandonment wounds from when you were young. And an inner child healing will help you in this process and make you realize that I mean, a lot of what we feel and the patterns we have in relationships and thinking all comes back to when we were kids. So reflecting on even having conversations with your inner child and saying that you're on the right path now and talking to them could be very helpful for you. Spirit is leaving you with these messages. It's up to you in big happy changes. No matter where you're going in the future, with this path, it's going to be beautiful. Spirit's with you every step of the way, and you're going to have a very abundant, fulfilling life by choosing this path. And massive happy changes will happen for you, and you'll be living in a holistic abundance where you really have a satisfying, beautiful life, because that's what you chose to have. It was up to you to have this fruitful life, and you chose to. And where you want to go next is up to you as well. Spirit's basically saying you're a co-creator, and what you want we can make happen. But you have to believe in yourself and believe in the divine to bring it forward. And whenever you notice yourself in disbelief, healing your inner child and working through ego fears will be the solution. You have a very positive, fruitful life headed for you. And that's the key, the truth of how you step past your limitations and continue searching for that fulfillment that you've been looking for. That fulfillment card at the beginning really identifies everything about your reading. Your truth is that you are on a path of fulfillment in this life. So, and authenticity. So yes, this is all I'm getting for you, Pile 3. It's an honor to read for you, and I will see you in another reading. Bye. Hey, Pile 4, if you chose the Celestite, then this is your reading on the truth of yourself. So let's get into the oracle cards. The first card we have is Detective. Light attributes, great powers of observation and intuition, desire to seek out the truth. We have the Weasel in Pine, introspection. The Bat in Hellebore, intuition. Cosmic Egg, Inner Calling, and the Warrior. Okay, Pile 4. This is my pile for all the light workers out there, for all the star seeds. Hello, welcome to my reading. So the truth of yourself is that you came to Earth with a very important mission, and you shine very, very brightly, and I can see that you have struggled with people not wanting you to shine, and in your earlier life you really had to fight to get out of hard times. I see that you recently have ended a chapter of strife. For a while you were the wounded warrior, where you'd been really hurt by the people around you. But this led to your awakening. This led you to see who you truly are and the power that's within you, because the power within you is very strong. You hold cosmic consciousness within you, and you have a very strong destiny on this earth. A very important destiny. And you have felt that call since you were young inside of you. You felt the strength of your light within you. one of the main reasons you came to Earth was to connect with nature and to be there for Mother Earth during this time of where humanity has been horrible to her. And you're a light worker meant to be here to nurture her during this time. And I think you dealt with people treating you badly as a reflection of how Mother Earth's been treated. It's interesting that the snakes are on both of these cards. You've definitely shed a past life within this life, and you're living a life that truly matches your inner desires and inner life and isn't a part of the ego or led by the ego at this point. The animals that are here are animals that are often disregarded by society, like the weasel, the bat, and snakes. Society tends to paint these animals in a bad light. Like, people don't think they're cute or sweet. And I think you're here to support the life forms that are discredited in this way. And you're here for the underdog. You came to Earth for the underdog. And right now, Mother Nature is the underdog. And you definitely have psychic connection to her and to animals where you can feel the energy and the feelings within those forms of consciousness. You have a very close tie to nature. And I think nature heals you when you're wounded, going outside into laying on the grass, sitting by the ocean. That is immensely healing for you. Because you, as a starseed, you're very connected to your crown chakra and third eye, as we can see in the warrior card. But your root needs the most help. And nature is where you can go to get that help and to get that love from the universe. Because you're here during a very difficult time for Earth. And I see you meeting up with people who don't fit into the matrix-like egoic parts of society. And I see you having a major ending in your life where you let go of a lot of things that weren't serving you or serving your life purpose, and you're in the beginning stages of this second stage of your life. And you're following your intuition. You've introspected on the past, and you're following your intuition forward. Your intuition is very strong. You can trust the path you're led down and the voice inside you that tells you what way to go. You're meant to uncover truths about Earth here, and you are your own guru. You know where you're supposed to go and what you're being led to do. It's all inside of you. You can trust yourself. There's a big emphasis on nature cycles and having patience when things slow down, because with your cosmic intelligence, the constraint of time can be very difficult for people with this life force. But you're being asked to connect to Earth, and whenever you're in the flow of nature's cycles, you'll feel more at peace. Especially if you live in a big city or somewhere with less nature. You're being asked to go into nature as much as you can and spend time grounding in parks and by the sea, wherever you can go that is connected to like natural life rather than man-made life. The truth of you is that you probably don't feel like you belong here because you're not from here. You're not from these parts. And you're making a huge impact on this world and helping in ways you don't even understand, especially on a spiritual level. So, trust your path. The next 2 years are going to be very formative for you, and the next 10 months as well. you're going to be making strides to or on the path of your life purpose. Above all else, you're being asked to follow your intuition and trust whenever your intuition says not to trust somebody or not to go down a certain path, even if egoically it makes sense. Because your intuition is spot on the way you're supposed to live your life. I love all of the color in these cards. You bring color to people's lives, and in Earth, you've had to deal with a lot of more negative energies and lower vibrations. And you're being reminded that you can come back into yourself and find that peace anytime you choose to. It's a personal decision to exit those lower vibrations and come back into harmony with yourself. And you can do this through meditation and especially being out in nature. That just keeps repeating itself here, that's the key to you finding peace, is going back into that simplicity. I also think that having an animal like a dog or a cat could be very therapeutic for you, because when people fail you, I feel like you understand animals on that instinctive level, and they can be very nurturing for you. Okay, let's get into the tarot. You're a very bright light, pile 4. Okay. Queen of Pentacles. I have everything I need to prosper. Wow. King of Cups. I am my own anchor. In reverse. The Hierophant. I am ready to love and learn. In reverse. King of Swords. In reverse. I trust my ability to make a strategic decision. Can I get one more? I listen to my heart and follow my knowing. 4 of Cups. I feel like we need to take a moment just to remind ourselves how difficult living on Earth can be, how hard this journey through life is, because there's a lot of messed up stuff happening in this Earth and things that really drain any starseed, any light worker. Like, you can just click on the news and it'll drain all of your life force from you. I literally rarely check the news because of how much it drains me on a soul level. What you're being asked to remember is that you have everything within you you need to prosper and fulfill your life's destiny. Things might be going up in madness all around us, but you can still follow your light and follow your path and find the light in your life. And you can choose not to participate in the news when it's draining you. You have a choice to focus on what you have within you to prosper. Because the cruel reality is we can't change the institutions and the corrupt, powerful people in our world. We don't have power over them. We can't control them. But all we can do is shine our light and help other people find their lights and spread that light around the world. Because this spread really is all about, there are people and institutions in this world that are very self-interested and self-motivated and selfish. And it can be very draining as a light worker to be around these energies and notice that they aren't changing. There's a lot of toxic masculinity in this world, and people are beholden to the governments around them for their livelihoods and for their ability to survive on this planet. And we could talk about this for ever, but the truth is there's just some really hard parts of life and hard things that make it can easily become a burden on us as we live. And your cards are really saying that, yes, you can't control these institutions or these evil people out there, but you still can fulfill your mission on this earth and create positive change for this planet and do good things for this planet. And just because society's messed up doesn't mean you can't find your home here and your home within nature. The Four of Cups here is just a godsend. It says, I listen to my heart and follow my knowing. As long as you follow your internal compass and what you know to be true for yourself, you'll find peace. And I think it's easy to not want to focus on the darkness of this world because of how it can be easy to focus on the darkness of this world and feel as though we can't do anything. But these cards are here to tell you that you live in your life with intentionality and living your purpose and living with love and care for the world does make a difference and does make an impact. And you're being asked to focus on that rather than all of the horrible things happening. By focusing on the good, you'll spread more good in this world. You're this beautiful human who is going to help so many other humans awaken to their light and happiness. And there's something about radical acceptance here over the people and entities we can't change. And know that just because those things exist doesn't discredit or discount the fact that you're doing amazing work here and you're doing amazing things. I can feel how draining this experience can be for you, and I feel for you, and I'm so sorry that life is like this sometimes, but there is also good in this world, and you're being asked to meditate on the good whenever the bad feels too heavy. You make such a lasting impact on other people, and you really have everything you need to prosper in this life and do all of your work. You have everything within you you need to fulfill the destiny, your life's purpose that you came to this earth to do. So don't be disheartened in that regard. By bad people in bad places, because you're a good person and you're doing the best you can. And as long as you listen to your heart and follow your knowing, you're on the right track. And even though the macrocosm of the world has people who make selfish decisions or aren't ready to love and learn or make people reliant on them for selfish reasons again, there's microcosms within this world where people are making strategic decisions to help better the planet And people are ready to expand their minds and love and learn, and people are ready to be their own anchor. Mother Earth is her own anchor, as we were discussing before. Just because people are putting pollutants into her skies doesn't mean that she doesn't stop doing her thing. She keeps living and fighting, and that's what we're being called to do too. And you're being asked to remind yourself that there's people who are working for the good of all people right now, and you're one of them. And you're being asked to focus on that rather than the bad right now, because whatever you feed energy into grows. So if you focus too much on the bad, that's all you'll see. Energy goes where my intention flows, So there's that saying that's like, be the change you wish to see in the world, and that's what you're really being asked to do. And I think you're really being asked not to look at the news as much, and to focus on things that uplift you rather than disempower you or drain you. So let's look at the final oracle cards. So we have the waxing crescent. Ask your angels. And we are nature. Becoming grounded, embodiment, living in connection. We were talking about this earlier, but being in nature will be very healing for you. Getting out of society, getting out of the matrix, living in harmony, meditating with Mother Earth. That'll bring you back into balance and help restore your life force. And you have a very strong intuition. You are very connected to the cosmos, and you can ask your angels for help. It can be very hard to live in this world and live in this reality and see the pain that's going on in this world. And you can ask for help, for peace to be brought to you, and you can ask Mother Nature for this help too. The world listens, but it's by putting your intention on these things rather than focusing on the bad that you'll be able to do this. The bad must be, there's that saying that's like, the past must be looked at but not stared at, and I have this feeling that that's what you're being asked to do, is look at the bad in this world but don't stare at it, and focus on what you can do to bring harmony and beauty into your life in the present moment. And with waxing crescent, I see that you're expanding right now, and your life and how you can help the world is expanding. And the crescent moon has so much more of a ways to go to become a full moon. So you have so much more potential and experience to live and beauty to have in this current chapter of your life. And you're being asked to focus on that and focus on what you have control over, and realizing that you have everything within you need to prosper. And as long as you follow your intuition and listen to your heart, you'll be led in the right direction. It's by focusing too much on what's outside of you that you'll feel a loss of direction. When you come back into yourself and meditate and come back to Mother Earth and listen to your heart, you'll find the truth again, because the truth is very simple, and this world tries to make it very complicated. So coming back into yourself and finding that peace will be very healing for you. Being a light worker on this planet is very hard, and you're doing an incredible, incredible job. But don't let all of the negative things happening in this world make you feel unable to spread goodness and spread love, because that's what you're here to do, and you can do that. And it's by connecting with Mother Earth, I see that you'll get your energy and your vitality back. So know that you're very protected, and your angels are watching over you at all times. I heard a fire truck going by. Archangel Michael is definitely heavily protecting you, and you're just being asked to rest and not put the whole world on your shoulders. You can't control all of the bad going on in this world, but you can take care of yourself and love yourself. And by doing that, you'll take care of the world and love the world. I hope this message helped. I know it can be so draining to follow this path, but you are on the right track. And you have so much to look forward to in this life. So, this is all I'm getting for you, Pile 4. It was an honor to read for you. I hope you have a beautiful day or night whenever you're watching, and I will see you in another reading. Bye. Hey, Pile 5. If you chose the Orca Agate, then this is your reading on the truth of yourself. So we're going to first look at the oracle cards and then move into the tarot. So first we have the Wolf and Rosehip, Guardianship. We have the Shark. We have the Castle. I'm hearing the Rainbow Kitten surprise song, All's Well That Ends. Child Nature. Ooh. Slave. And Blessing. I'm hearing Do You Go Up. I forget who that song's by. Okay, Pile 5. What is the truth of yourself? I think you, of all the piles, are the most perceptive to this truth because you are very perceptive to the truth of a lot of illusions on this earth. You see the truth behind materialism and excessive consumption in society, and you see that people are trying to fill voids within themselves they can't fill, or that won't be filled by materialism. And I think you've spent time in close proximity to people who seem to have it all but are very unhappy. And it made you realize that nobody has everything, and fulfillment doesn't come from how much money you make or your reputation in society or your fame or power. Fulfillment comes from who you are on the inside. And it's not as glamorous as people or society tries to make it seem to be. So you are very perceptive and aware that a lot of people are living like slaves to capitalism and fighting, working these 9-to-5 jobs where they're burnt out and unhappy and unfulfilled, and they're chasing after this dragon that doesn't exist. And the media gives us this idea of like fame and fortune is the epitome of fulfillment, but you know that's not true. And you think in a very Aquarius-like way. You're very original in your mind. And you choose not to live in this Kafka-esque manner in how you operate in life. You do things differently, and it's not mainstream, but you know where your ultimate fulfillment lies, and you know it's much more in the simple things like the beach and parks and nature than it is in any of these like red carpets or egoic principles that modern day society lay out. You're very awaken to what works for you and what doesn't. And you're a leader in this sense because you can see things from a very original mindset. You're not a sheep in the slightest. And I think you are very perceptive of sheep-like, mob-like tendencies in the population, but you move to the beat of your own drum. I feel like you sometimes feel like you have more in common with animals than humans, and more in common with nature and the cycles of nature than how most humans think and operate. That's the truth of you, is you've seen the matrix for what it is, and you're willing to try things differently and to tread your own path. And by realizing, by this tower falling of you having this clarity on how society operates, you will be blessed and find the fulfillment you know exists. It's only a matter of time. And I see a lot of your fulfillment coming from being outside in nature, around trees. It's like you're living in tandem with these natural occurrences of life. It's like that Taoist principle of being in harmony with the chaos of the universe and the nature, and responding to how nature presents itself. This is like a very Taoist pile, a very awakened, enlightened pile that sees things for what they are and still isn't afraid to live differently and to make changes to have a more fulfilling life, a more abundant life. And I see you finding a group of people who live this way and operate this way too, and won't live in submission. I see that the only thing you submit to is the divine and trusting in faith and not by sight. You don't submit to anything man-made. You have a very wise perception on this world and how it operates, and I think you have a lot of gifts and talents because of your perceptive mind, and they're continuing to grow. I see something big happening for you in the wintertime. Whenever you're watching this, the next winter time, December specifically, I see people coming in who understand you and you can talk back and forth with, and I feel like you're in this empty room where anything is possible, and because you can see so clearly, you have an inventor's mind, I'm hearing ingenue, and there's people being brought in that share your perspective. It's people who have chosen not to be puppets. People who also walk to the beat of their own drum, and your drums are leading each other, or leading to each other. So, yeah. I think too, a person caught up in society, you would be really scary. You'd seem dangerous to them because they don't understand you. But little do they know you're like this beautiful, kind rabbit who sees the egoic entities of this world as what they are, as these sharks and as these predators. So this is very interesting. Let's get into your tarot cards about the truth of yourself, pile 5. We have the Hierophant, I am ready to love and learn. King of Swords, I trust my ability to make a strategic decision. King of Wands, I am successful in all I do. I trust myself to see the truth. One more. Three of Cups. I embrace joyful opportunities. You're finding a group of people who think the way you do and think out of the box, and you guys are acting on your beliefs to find that fulfillment that I was talking about earlier in your lives. And I see a lot of beautiful get-togethers with these people, and I see you really creating a beautiful life for yourself that is based on what you truly want internally rather than what people in the external world say you should want. You're going to have some major successes in the next 7 months, in the next 3 to 7 months. And it comes from your passion and your intellect, your ability to see things so clearly. And you're working with a group. You're going to learn during this time, and you're going to feel like you're living closer to your truth than you ever have before. Your voice is definitely being activated, your throat chakra as well as your solar plexus. And you're going to have a confidence in your path and how you live your day-to-day life because it comes from such an authentic place. And you're going to feel a camaraderie with these people that you haven't felt before. And it's because you all are living as individuals, following your own truths together. It's in Pile 4, I was talking about how there's microcosms of people doing great work and living authentically. And that's what I see you're doing. Like Pile 5 is living this out, living out this beautiful life, this fulfilling life. It's like the light worker's mission on earth, and you found your soul tribe completely. I see you collaborating with people who really inspire you, and you're working to make a difference in this world and to make people's lives better, and you're going to feel so fulfilled in your life in the coming months. The truth of yourself is that you have fought to be who you truly are, and it's led you to the right people. It's led to your utmost fulfillment. So let's look at the final oracle cards. We have listen to your intuition. Don't stop. Two. And the thorn. Protection, boundaries, clear communication. I see that you're just on like the complete right track, Pile 5, for yourself and the way you've been living. You've been following your intuition, and you're just being asked. The main thing Spirit's saying is keep going in the direction you've been going in. You're going the right way. And stand up for yourself when you need to. Fight for yourself when you need to. Set your boundaries. Communicate authentically, and don't be afraid to be who you are. And I see you having some really powerful one-on-one relationships within this group where you have similar values and similar passions, and you really feel seen during this chapter of your life, and you're living out your purpose, you're living out your destiny. And this card's coming up to say there's going to be thorns to life, there's going to be hard things that happen, but that doesn't mean you're not on the right track, and you're being asked to flow with those times just as you flow with the good, and you have so much good coming in for you. And stand up for yourself when things get tough. you'll know intuitively when you need to fight and when you need to stand up for yourself. And just keep doing, you're doing everything right. Just keep moving in this direction and keep doing the next right thing for you, and you'll know on an intuitive level what that is. So, why don't we roll the Astro dice to close the reading, because I haven't done that yet in any of these piles, but your reading is so straight to the point that your reading is running a bit short on time, so we'll do some extra Astro dice for you. We have the 8th house, Pisces, Pluto. Yeah, I see you dealing with the darker parts of life, the more transformative parts of life. What this is basically saying is whatever is happening in your life is fated and destined, and you're living out a much larger spiritual purpose at this time, and you're being asked to ride this wave, and I'm hearing less is more. So we'll end on that note. Pile 5. It was an honor to read for you, and I will see you in another reading. Bye.